Hi, it is Sunday and it is time for my mental health vlog, and it's a really small, crazy, weird world. So I'd like to say hi to my fiance's uncle, who evidently has been watching my vlog well before he ever knew that I knew his nephew. So, hi. It's a very, 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 very small world, but I appreciate you watching. Um, that is actually kind of weird because I was just talking to my family while I was there last week about how my mother always has this weird gift to know everyone, and she got that from my grandfather who and grandmother who knew everyone. And when I say they knew everyone, my sister and I couldn't get away with shit. My sister went to go see went to go see Pretty Woman on a date, told my mom that she was seeing Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and before she was even home, somebody had seen her in the theater and called my mom to say, "Oh, I saw, blah 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 in going into Pretty Woman with blah blah blah." Yeah. We've always joked with my mother, you can't get away with crap in Savannah because if they don't know my grandparents, they knew my mother. But the mom has this gift, and it radiates. And as we've gotten older, we've discovered that the people that are connected to mom, it radiates from them too. Not with the same people, but just a lot of those it's a small world situations. Because you know someone, and why do you know them? You have zero reason to know them. And this is like the third time this month this has happened to me through my fiance. So I told him, I'm like, well, welcome to it. It radiates. So, I got some really great praise at work this week. I have been I've always done, the training scripts for the stuff that my projects. My training scripts have been so good that that's one of my responsibilities now for my team is doing the training scripts for everyone, which is cool because it's a work balance. I have less of one thing and more of another. It's whatever, and so I've started taking on doing the training scripts for projects that I have not really been involved on, which is really beneficial for me because I'm now going through stuff at a granular level that I wouldn't have ever really had to do before. And when one of my coworkers, because I'm like, I will build your test scripts, but you must review them because you know more about this project than I do. And I get some really great feedback or some really great information from, words are hard. My boss and my other coworker were talking this past week, and she was raving about how awesome my test scripts were, how clear everything was, how much she loved the color coding that I did because I'm a Pisces. I color code everything. I love color, and I was like, that's great. And that actually, then she's like, and also, I wanted to let you know because we use the test scripts for us to validate. We also give them to the business for them to validate and sign off on stuff. And one of them was so impressed with the way that the test scripts have been evolving over the past couple of releases that she actually sent it to the head of the entire commercial lines department to give a little bit of kudos, which she normally doesn't do. And then my boss let me know that had also happened from our business counterpart. So it was really encouraging this week to get that kind of feedback. Especially now, it's kind of a dick this week. There is a coworker who is much higher up than I am, who is retired this week. And after an incident that occurred in October a couple years ago, I didn't have a lot of respect for this person or really give two craps about her. And that feeling was only exacerbated by seeing how she really treated my boss over the past year. So there were 2 meeting invitations that went out back to back for her retirement. I had no intention of going to her retirement thing, so I had declined them both. No big deal. And I was taking the dogs for a walk because we were having windows installed this week, so the dogs were leashed all week long. And I'm like, well, I'm not coming. My boss sends me a text message. Why are you not coming to the meeting? You're the only person on our team not here. And I'm like, I'm not planning. I'm not coming to the meeting. She's like, well, it's mandatory. I was so pissed off. I'm like, well, I'll be back at the house in 5 minutes. Send me the link because I declined it, and I'll hop on. So I was on this call, and I was so pissed off that this was a required meeting. And then it turns out it wasn't actually like a retirement thing. Yeah, she's retiring, but it was like an introduction to the new manager, who I already know and love her, so I wasn't worried about that. But I was just not happy to be there, period. And I kind of probably let that show a little more than I should have. And I didn't go on camera because I didn't want to be on camera. And there were only like 3 of us that were not on camera. Oh well, that's how I decided to deal with my feelings at the time. But then my boss was like, that was really not cool that you didn't show up to the meeting. She's like, if these things are required, this was something she requested, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, I think it's kind of bullshit that that anything involving her retirement is mandatory. She's like, her party's on Friday. I don't care if you go to that or not. I'm not going to that. I'm like, okay. So, I also gave my boss some accolades this week because I noticed that she's been paying more and more attention to how I work, where my strengths are, and where I can better my performance. And I commend bosses like that because I'm horrible at self-evaluation, which has been why this last several years has been such a struggle. And one of the reasons why I do this vlog is because I forced myself to have to self-evaluate everything. But still, evaluations at work suck. So seeing a lot of your strengths, figuring out your strengths and weaknesses can sometimes be challenging, and you don't see some of them. But she really zoned in on a couple this week, and she's like, I want to start changing this, and this, because I've noticed that you really do well for this, and you don't like it when you just get a distraction or someone calls you, whatever. You like to heads down, focus. That's what you like to do. So she's kind of restructuring things based on our strengths, and I like the changes that she's making. And I said, I want to commend you, because a lot of bosses have like, we're going to do this way. This is the way we're going to do it. This is how we're going to do it. This is when we're going to do it. This is my way. If you don't like it, leave. And she's actually taking the time to really learn more about us, to see how we work, to help us do the projects that we would excel well in, while also being challenged, but not stuff that is so against what your normal instincts are to how you would work. Anyway, I thought that was really, really cool. That I, one, got some praise this week, and 2, was able to give some back to my boss as well. But yes, I'm very excited for this next chapter. I'm very excited that I actually know and like and have spoken with my new boss's boss. I love that she is based in my hometown. I really hope that, and we end up having like a team meeting there, and I get to go back and I get to maybe add an extra day or 2 and see some of my old friends that I haven't seen. Well, one of them I recently saw because they flew out and surprised me for my engagement last year. But most of which I have not seen since high school, or since my grandfather blew his brains out, for that funeral. And I saw some of them at that funeral. I think I had my son with me, and he was just 6 months old. So that's a long time ago. And there are people that they're one of them is my anchor people. Actually, 2 of them are my anchor people. So I miss them. So we had my son this weekend, and I picked him up on Fridays from school. And the very first thing he said to me when he got in the car wasn't hi, wasn't anything. He's like, I'm gonna say some words, and I need you to take my feelings into consideration. I'm like, is one of those words hi? He's like, no. Well, yes, hi, but. Then he proceeds to tell me how offensive my Burley Bottom Designs line is and how uncomfortable it makes him when I wear my designs around him. Keep in mind, the designs that I do wear around my son, and I don't wear a lot around my son, but the stuff that if I choose to wear something around my son, it is like this. It is the state of Texas with Wolf. It is not egregious or offensive or something he should be offended by in any way, shape, and form. Maybe a cartoon bear on an inner tube, whatever. And he's like, well, your logo's got butts on it. I'm like, I was just kind of like, you know what, dude, like the stuff I wear around you is not that bad, but if it makes you feel that uncomfortable, then I will make sure that I really curtail what I wear around you. And it just kind of pissed me off because as soon as I said that, headphones went into his phone, he was gone. So, which is normal, honestly, for the drive home from school. So I got home, I went back to work, because I have to go back to work after I pick him up. And he immediately went into his room, his fortress of solitude, and he's a preteen, so that's just where he lives. And unless there's, food, or he has the bathroom or something, or heaven forbid I ask him to do a chore. And the more I thought about it, the more it really pissed me off. For a couple of reasons. And I really felt like it was bullshit. Complete and total bullshit. So, when the pizza arrived, because Friday nights are pizza nights, I called him down, and we usually turn on a cartoon, one of 3 cartoons that we watch in perpetual rotation. And I said, before we turn on the TV, I want to talk to you. I said, earlier today, you shared your concerns and your feelings with me. I listened to them. I said, now, I'm going to share some of mine with you, and I hope that you listen to me. I said, you find it offensive, the stuff that I have on my shirt. I find it offensive that when you got in the car, instead of acknowledging me and saying hello after not seeing me for a week, when I'm excited to see you, I guess that's not reciprocal, to decide to shit on something that I really love, I take great pride in, and it makes me happy, and hopefully one day will make me money. I said, I find it makes me uncomfortable when I have you in my house and can't see you. I may get you for 30 minutes a weekend when I just don't hear from you or see you all week long, because heaven forbid you text me. It makes me uncomfortable to know how many times you say things or do things that are so disrespectful and don't even think that it's a big deal. So those things upset me. I said, but what really upsets me is the fact that you're trying to tell me that you're offended by a little blue butt on a shirt, when most of the things that you see in your life are PG-13 or greater. And this is at least PG-13. So maybe, if that offends you so much, we need to take a look at all of the content that you're exposing yourself to and make sure that you're not seeing anything more than a PG level. That would go for YouTube, going back to YouTube Kids. It would go to deleting all of your online games. It would be no more movies or television that's not on, Nickelodeon or Disney or whatever. I didn't make the list out, but I'm like, that was the point I was trying to get. I'm like, this is nothing worse than you see every day. You can't tell me this is offensive or upsetting to you. The one thing I did get out of him was, he said, I'm just worried someone's going to see you wearing that and think that I, a kid, am into that. And I said, dude, no one's going to think that. No sane person is going to think that. Especially when the stuff that I'm wearing it's Texas Wolf. So I hear him and I get it, but at the same time, it's total bullshit. It's just finding the most hurtful way to say something, and that is a trait that he has definitely not inherited, but picked up at home. And I actually noticed this weekend how many similarities I was seeing in the behavior and the responses and the deflections and things like that. So the conversation did end when I was telling him how much it hurts me that I don't get to spend time with him, and every time I try to do something with him, he just shoots it down and doesn't want to do it. And he's like, well, that's because you and I have nothing in common. Like, we don't listen to the same music, we don't like the same games, you don't even like games. It's like, we have nothing in common. I have more in common with your fiance. He didn't use that word, by the way, he said his name. I have more in common with your fiance than I do with you. I'm not gonna hang out with someone I don't have anything in common with. Sorry. So I just let it go. And he finished his pizza and went upstairs. Clearly I was, he had to been able to see the tears that were in my face. I wasn't bawling, but there were tears in my eyes. I'm like, okay. I'm gonna put your plate in the sink. make sure you get your bath at 9. And he went upstairs, and I just kind of sat there. I didn't know how to process the heartache, and like, what do I do with that information? My son doesn't want to hang out with me because we have nothing in common, where all I've ever tried to do is get something out of him that I can connect to. When he's an adult, he's going to want to visit for the holidays. You have to split those when you come from a split home. You make those own choices. You don't, your parents don't dictate which place you spend which holiday in. So there's critical time in the future I feel I'm going to miss out on because I'm not finding a way to bond with my son now. Why would he want to visit someone that he has nothing in common with? And I know he's just a preteen, and maybe he's saying things that maybe he's not wording things right, which I find hard to believe because he has a more impressive vocabulary than I do. He's definitely smarter than I am. But just like his dad, he definitely knows how to make his words really sharp. So I know I have things to work on. And I won't give up on him. You can't give up on your kids. I will always try to get more out of him than he's willing to give. I will always want to pay a little bit more attention to things than he's comfortable with. I will always want to ask about his day, and I will ask so many open-ended questions because you shut me off so easily. And then tell me that you don't want to hang out with me because we have nothing in common. It's been a hard thing to try and process this weekend. It's been really challenging because I know it's not like I know that there's some level of responsibility on my part. I do understand that. I don't want anyone to think, well, maybe you're not trying hard enough, because I do feel like I'm trying, but am I trying hard enough? Probably not. Clearly I have to try harder. I acknowledge that. But my son's also being a dick. He's a preteen teenager. He's a dick. This morning we did go to Grandma and Grandpa's house, and their mother was there, and we had a nice breakfast that Grandpa made for everybody. Really enjoyed that time. It was really nice. And then we came home. And then this evening I had some people that had done some, that had won the Burley Bottoms contest. They wanted to come by this evening, and we needed to come by and talk about some things, and I wanted to get some pictures of them in their shirts. So that was really cool, and it was really nice to meet them and get to know them a little bit better. And I hope that I get to see them again. It was they were just fun, nice people. I had a little bit of anxiety meeting new people, but no, these people were totally cool. I just adore them already. So that's my week. A couple of highs, bunch of lows, but que sera, sera. Check on your friends, make sure they're doing okay. I am doing okay. I still haven't reached out to some of my friends I needed to reach out to, and I meant to last week. Life, see, it's a perfect example. Life gets in the way. It's not that you aren't thinking of your friends. It's just that sometimes thinking about them and connecting with them are hard to align with everything else. And you know what? Your true friends know that, and they get to, and they love you anyway. So to those friends I have out there that I haven't talked to in a while, please know that I do love you, and I think about you all the time. I really do. Check on your family. See how they're doing. Of course, I talked to my mother today. We FaceTime with her. We FaceTime with my my aunt, who is basically, mom the second. And we, oh shit, I forgot to call my sister. I'll text her a little bit. It's just my sister, it's fine. But happy Mother's Day to all the moms and maternal figures out there, or strong women that are playing both mother and father, whatever. Happy Mother's Day. Happy Mother's Day to my mom. Happy Mother's Day to my aunt. Happy Mother's Day to my sister. Happy Mother's Day to all the other moms out there. And check in yourself. What do you need? I think I'm doing okay right now, but clearly I've got some stuff for me I need to work on. Story of my life. That's why we're here, and that's why you're here. And so think about yourself. What do you need? What is your body trying to tell you? What is your behavior trying to tell you? What is your brain trying to tell you? What is your gut trying to tell you? What do you need? Listen to your body. And I will see you guys next week. Bye.